Let's move on. This is a very interesting spot here. Falcons, Vikings. Atlanta, Minnesota. Here we go. Oh, I'm on first half. Sorry, let's move over to full game. Atlanta, Minnesota. This total opened at 57, already being bet down 54.5. The leading indicator books have taken it to. It's 55s across the board. Minnesota at 3.5-point favorites. There are a couple threes on the board that are very juiced. Very juiced. And then in this Vikes spot, the early money is all over the Vikings. The early tickets are all over the Vikings. 92% of the cash, 77% of the tickets. And it's another situation where most of the tickets are on the over, but big bets have come in on the under. All right. Falcons lost last week 23-16 at home to the Panthers, dropped to 0-5 for the first time since 1997, and fired Dan Quinn and Dimitroff, their general manager. Playing without Julio Jones, Matt Ryan held to 21-37 for a season low 226 yards. Falcons rushed for 166 yards, so 6.6 yards average carry. Gurley, 121 yards on 14 carries. But the injuries in the secondary continue to hurt the Falcons. Cornerback Kendall Sheffield, he missed the first 3 games of the season with a foot injury. He left the field in the final minute of the first half with an injured right ankle. He didn't return. Safety Jalen Hawkins remains out, and Tack McKinley just can't get right. He finally got back in the lineup, and groin injury in the first quarter did not return. Vikings lost in heartbreaking fashion 27-26 at Seattle on Sunday night. I cashed my first half and full game team total overs. Bebsy cashed his full game team total over. Cousins, 27-39, 249 yards, 2 second half TD passes to Thielen. Madison rushed for a career high 112 yards after Dalvin Cook went down with a groin injury. Dalvin Cook expected to be out of the lineup this week. The decision by Zimmer will be debated. If you look at percent of winning and all those stats, it was basically a wash. So it just becomes how you wanted to handle the situation personally. It was a pretty even situation. I've been thinking about it. I don't know. I lean towards a more passive approach in those situations, just not to give momentum to the opposition. So I probably kick the field goal, but it's sort of a safe play. Cornerbacks Chris Boyd and Holden Hill remain out. So does wide receiver K.J. Osborne. The first game of the Falcons without their head coach and general manager. Take it away, Bebsy.
I mean, that's my big apprehension with this game, because you look at it and you see -3, -3.5. It almost feels ludicrous the way the Falcons have been playing. But is this where they turn it around? Is this were they not playing for Quinn? Will they show up this week? Because on paper, this Falcons team is not bad. They're certainly not as bad as they've been playing, and they've been playing atrocious. So is this the week they turn it around? Is this the week they show that they can win without Dan Quinn? But I always felt like Dan Quinn was at least respected in that building, and I think that had a lot to do with him coming back. So it's hard to say, because quite frankly, the Vikings have played well. We knew they were going to put up points against a weak Seahawks defense, and they did it even though they lost Dalvin Cook. But that's just a massive, massive loss to that offense. That's, already without their offensive coordinator from last year, already without Stephon Diggs, trying to get it going. They got it going, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that they were riding Cook. So can Madison do what Cook's been doing? He certainly looked good in this week, but again, it's another tough spot. Like when this first opened up, I looked at it and I was like, man, I love Minnesota. This is a juicy play. But the more and more I look at it, and especially if the Falcons can turn it on after the departure of Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff, then maybe this is the week they come back. I don't think it's quite like the Houston situation where Houston was playing a far worse team than them, and they were, without a guy they hated. I don't think Dan Quinn was hated in Atlanta.
I agree. This does feel different. And I had the same approach sort of this game. When I first saw it, I was like, ooh, this is a nice spot for the Vikings. The longer I looked at it, the more I'm close to moving towards the Falcons. Now, they could use Julio Jones. That is clear. Nutflush says people always bet on what they see last. Fade the Vikings. If you wonder why, these books make so much money, you're going to have so much money on the Vikings here.
Well, it's all coming in on Vikings. And recency bias will kill you if that's all you focus on.
Without a doubt. So I guess in saying that right now,
who's the interim coach for Atlanta right now?
It's their DC. They brought up their defensive coordinator. Let me just pull that up. Defensive. Here we go. It is Raheem Morris. Oh, no, the secondary coach, Raheem Morris, will serve as defensive coordinator. Sorry, what the hell am I saying? Yes, no, interim head coach, Raheem Morris. Sorry, reading a couple things at the same time there. So Raheem Morris has moved up. There's always a bump or a boost that first game with a new coach. And Viper MB says, pass aside, the over is probably the best bet here.
I mean, I kind of want to agree with Viper on this one. Both of these teams have proven to be able to put up points. And I feel like that over is just going to get hammered.
It's going down quickly. It's going down, and money's been coming in on the over. Well, actually, more money's coming on the under. More tickets are coming on the over. Let's make that clear. And it's dropped 2 points from the Bet365 opener, and the indicator books have it going down further. All right. A tricky second game on the card. I tell you what, though. I'm leaning Falcons.
Yeah, so am I, but we did this last year, and we did this to start this year. When are we going to stop believing in the Vikings or the Falcons? What do they have to do to make us hate them?
No, I hear you. It was a big mistake we made last year.
And this year, both of us thought that this was a team that can, rise from the ashes. And quite frankly, they've been just utter shit.
Alvin Smith says, this is a game, Jimmy, you stay off. This is a game you stay off. Robert Allen says, Vikings defense actually started playing good last couple games. Doesn't show on paper yet, but they're getting better on D. All right, no moves through the first two games of the card.